It's Storytime Productions.
Twisted Tales.
Hello, my friends. So I put 3 true stories together. People seem to like it that way in threes, so I will do my best to keep it that way. Enjoy. In the heart of Cleveland, where the city lights flicker and cast long shadows, there lies a bar nestled amidst the bustling streets. It's a place where the night comes alive, but for one 24-year-old woman named Natasha, it became a chilling battleground between life and terror. Natasha worked the late shift at the bar, pouring drinks and exchanging laughs with the regulars until the early hours of the morning. As the clock struck closing time, she bid her co-workers farewell and stepped out into the cool night air, her heart pounding with the anticipation of the quiet walk home. The first night was uneventful. She walked briskly, the sound of her footsteps echoing against the deserted sidewalks. But on the second night, a feeling of unease crept over her as she noticed a figure lurking in the shadows, cloaked in all black. Natasha quickened her pace, her senses on high alert as she felt the weight of their gaze following her every move. Brushing it off as paranoia, she reached her doorstep and breathed a sigh of relief. Yet as she turned the key in the lock, a shiver ran down her spine as she glimpsed the silhouette retreating into the darkness. The following night, Natasha's nerves were frayed as she left the bar. She debated calling a cab but shrugged off the idea, convincing herself that it was just her imagination running wild. However, as she walked, she couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Every corner she turned, she half expected to come face to face with her shadowy pursuer. When she finally reached her street, she made a split-second decision to hail a cab, unwilling to risk another encounter. As she waited outside her house, her heart sank as she saw the figure emerge from the darkness once more, a menacing presence cloaked in black. Fear gripped her as she watched him approach, his steps slow and deliberate. Her breath caught in her throat as she realized the glint of metal in his hand, a knife gleaming in the dim streetlight. Panic surged through her veins as she fumbled for her phone, fingers trembling as she dialed her brother's number. "Tasha, what's wrong?" Her brother's voice crackled through the phone. Tears streamed down her face as she whispered, "Someone's outside. He's got a knife." Without hesitation, her brother rallied his friends and raced to her aid. In a matter of minutes, they arrived, armed and ready to confront the threat lurking in the shadows. Natasha watched from her hiding spot behind a nearby bush, her heart pounding in her ears as she prayed for their safety. The night air was thick with tension as her brother and his friends surrounded the intruder, their voices low and urgent as they demanded he drop the weapon. With a sudden burst of adrenaline, they lunged forward, disarming the assailant and pinning him to the ground. Relief washed over Natasha as she watched the flashing lights of the police car approach, the wail of sirens cutting through the stillness of the night. The officers quickly took control of the situation, handcuffing the man and leading him away into the night. As dawn broke on the horizon, Natasha stood outside her house, her hands still trembling from the adrenaline-fueled ordeal. She couldn't shake the feeling of dread that lingered in the air, a stark reminder of the horrors that had unfolded just moments before. But amidst the fear and uncertainty, one thing remained clear: she was alive thanks to the quick thinking of her brother and his friends. And as she watched the sun rise, casting its golden rays across the city, she made a silent vow to never walk home alone again. For she knew that sometimes, the darkness held far more than just shadows. It held the echoes of unspeakable horrors, waiting to strike when least expected. Dan and Tiffany were an adventurous young couple with a shared love for nature and exploration. They often sought thrilling experiences that would create lasting memories. On a warm summer day, they decided to embark on a hiking trip in the vast wilderness of Big Bend Ranch State Park. Excited and armed with their backpacks and sturdy hiking boots, Dan and Tiffany set out on their journey. The park was known for its breathtaking landscapes, challenging trails, and secluded beauty. The couple relished the opportunity to disconnect from their busy lives and immerse themselves in the tranquility of nature. As they trekked deeper into the park, They noticed an intriguing trail veering off from the main path. Curiosity got the better of them, and they decided to deviate from their planned route and explore this uncharted territory. Little did they know that this decision would lead them down a path of danger and terror. After a while, they stumbled upon an old, dilapidated cabin hidden among the dense vegetation. It stood there, isolated and haunting, like a relic from a forgotten time. The couple exchanged excited glances and, driven by their sense of adventure, decided to investigate the mysterious abode. Pushing open the creaking door, they cautiously stepped into the cabin's dimly lit interior. The stale air clung to their skin as they surveyed the room. Their eyes widened in disbelief as they saw guns strewn across the dining table and large vacuum-sealed bags of marijuana scattered on the floor. The realization hit them like a punch to the gut. They had stumbled upon a criminal hideout. Their hearts pounding, Dan and Tiffany knew they had to leave immediately and report their findings to the authorities. But just as they were about to make their exit, the sound of footsteps approached the cabin. Panic set in as they realized they were not alone. Peering through a crack in the cabin's weathered walls, they saw 3 armed Spanish men making their way along the path towards the hideout. Time seemed to slow down as Dan and Tiffany desperately scrambled to formulate a plan of escape. With seconds ticking away, they knew they had to act swiftly. Adrenaline surged through their veins as they made a split-second decision. They would attempt to sneak away, hoping to go unnoticed by the approaching men. Silently, they tiptoed toward the cabin's back entrance, their hearts pounding with every step. Their minds raced, conjuring images of what could happen if they were discovered. But luck was not on their side. Just as they reached the rear of the cabin, a creaking floorboard betrayed their presence. The Spanish men turned their heads, their eyes locking with Dan and Tiffany's in a chilling moment of realization. Without hesitation, the couple broke into a sprint, their lungs burning as they raced through the dense undergrowth. Bullets whizzed past their heads, and the sound of angry voices echoed through the trees. Fear fueled their every move as they desperately sought safety in the unforgiving wilderness. Branches clawed at their skin, scrapes and bruises forming with every stride. The chase was relentless, and the couple could feel the pursuers closing in. Thoughts of their loved ones and the life they might never return to flashed through their minds. Through sheer determination, Dan and Tiffany managed to reach a steep ravine. With no other options, they made a daring leap, their bodies crashing into the cold waters below. The current carried them away, concealing their tracks and leaving their pursuers stranded on the other side. Exhausted, battered but miraculously alive, they finally found refuge in a nearby ranger station. Breathless and trembling, they relayed the harrowing events that had unfolded in the depths of Big Bend Ranch State Park. Law enforcement was alerted, and a thorough investigation ensued. The criminal hideout was dismantled and the dangerous individuals were brought to justice. Dan and Tiffany's courageous act helped rid the park of a menacing presence, ensuring the safety of future visitors. Though forever marked by the horror they had experienced, Dan and Tiffany emerged from the ordeal with a newfound appreciation for life's fragility. Their hike in Big Bend Ranch State Park had turned into a nightmare, but their resilience and unwavering love for each other propelled them toward survival. As they gazed into each other's eyes, they vowed to cherish every moment, for they knew that life's unexpected twists could shatter their existence in an instant. And as they left the haunting memories of that fateful day behind, they carried with them a powerful reminder of the darkness that could lurk in even the most serene of places.
Story 3.
In the dense thicket of the backwoods, where the shadows danced with eerie delight and the silence was deafening, Tommy found himself engulfed in a chilling nightmare. With nothing but the distant hum of his ATV cutting through the stillness, he ventured deeper into the heart of his land, oblivious to the impending horror that awaited him. Tommy was a rugged outdoorsman, accustomed to the solitude of the wilderness. Armed with his trusty pistol, a relic from his father's collection, he felt a false sense of security as he navigated the rugged terrain on his ATV. Little did he know that fate had a cruel twist in store for him. That fateful evening, as twilight descended and the canopy above him darkened, Tommy's journey took a sinister turn. Out of the corner of his eye, he caught a glimpse of movement, a fleeting shadow darting between the gnarled trees. Ignoring the gnawing sense of unease creeping up his spine, he pressed on, dismissing it as a trick of his imagination. But soon the forest whispered its chilling secret as a pack of wolves emerged from the shadows, their eyes gleaming with feral hunger. Panic seized Tommy as he realized the gravity of his situation. With a heart pounding like a war drum, he attempted to turn his ATV around, only to find himself mired in the unforgiving mud. Desperation clawed at his throat as the wolves closed in, their snarls echoing through the night like a symphony of death. With trembling hands, Tommy fumbled for his pistol, his lifeline in this dire hour, but fate seemed to mock him as he discovered he only had 4 rounds left, a meager defense against the savage pack that encircled him. Summoning every ounce of courage, Tommy fired a warning shot into the ground, hoping to intimidate the predators. The wolves faltered for a moment, but their hunger outweighed their fear, and they resumed their advance with renewed vigor. Amidst the chaos, Tommy's senses sharpened, his instincts kicking into overdrive. He spotted a lone wolf attempting a flanking maneuver, its eyes fixed on him with predatory intent. Without hesitation, he took aim and fired, the shot ringing out like a thunderclap in the silent forest. The wounded wolf collapsed, its agonized cries piercing the night air. Tommy's heart wrenched at the sight, torn between self-preservation and compassion for the suffering creature. But survival instincts prevailed as the other wolves converged on their fallen comrade, buying him precious moments to free his ATV. With sweat-soaked hands and a racing mind, Tommy fought against the stubborn mud, his muscles straining against the ATV's weight. Meanwhile, the wolves watched, their predatory gaze never wavering, a constant reminder of the impending danger. As the engine roared to life and the ATV lurched forward, Tommy felt a surge of relief coursing through his veins. But his triumph was short-lived as he heard the wounded wolf's plaintive cries behind him, a haunting reminder of the price of survival. In a gut-wrenching decision, Tommy raised his pistol once more, the weight of his father's legacy heavy in his hands. With a heavy heart, he pulled the trigger, ending the creature's suffering with a single merciful shot. The forest fell silent, the echoes of his decision reverberating through the night. With his last round spent and the wolves still stalking him from a distance, Tommy knew he had to make a swift escape. With a primal yell, he gunned the ATV, racing through the dense undergrowth with reckless abandon. As he burst into the open field of his land, Tommy spared a glance over his shoulder, expecting to see the relentless pursuit of his lupine adversaries. But to his astonishment, the wolves had vanished, swallowed by the shadows from whence they came. Trembling with adrenaline and relief, Tommy vowed never to underestimate the primal savagery of nature again. As he returned to the safety of his home, he carried with him the harrowing memory of that night, a testament to the indomitable spirit of survival that lurks within us all. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I will have more 3-pack stories, so watch for those. And don't forget to subscribe if not already, and smash that like button and share anywhere and everywhere. It's much appreciated. And until next time, my friends, I will see you on the dark side. Sweet nightmares.
Subscribe. Scariest twisted tales.